appointed 70 followers to go ahead of him with very specific instructions for their mission and a word about hospitality or the lack thereof. The mission was fruitful, and Jesus said to his disciples, "Blessed are the eyes that see what you see." This morning, I invite you to notice what you see as a lawyer stood up to confront Jesus. One note about this unnamed lawyer: this would not be a person schooled in civil law, but rather a teacher of religious law. Listen and imagine the scene in the sanctuary.
Just then, a lawyer stood up to test Jesus. "Teacher," he said, "what must I do to inherit eternal life?" Jesus said to him, "What is written in the law? What do you read there?" He answered, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself." And he said to him, "You have given the right answer." But warning, Jesus replied, "Jerusalem to Jericho," and fell into the hands of beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. Now by chance, a priest was going down that road, and when he saw him, he passed by the other side. So likewise, a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, while traveling, came near him, and when he saw him, he was moved with pity. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, having poured oil and wine on them. Then he put him on his own animal, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day he took out 2 denarii, gave them to the innkeeper, and said, "Take care of him, and when I come back, I will repay you whatever more you spend." Which of these 3 do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of the robbers? He said, "The one who showed him mercy." And Jesus said to him, "Go and do likewise."
The parable of the Good Samaritan invites us to think about the distance between stranger and neighbor. A certain man, a learned man, one knowledgeable in religious codes of conduct, one skilled in reading the fine print and interpreting the Torah, a lawyer, that is, a teacher of the law of Moses. That one stood up in the synagogue to speak. I imagine his eyes fixed on Jesus as he asked a question relative to his concern about mortality. "What must I do to inherit eternal life?" he asked. "What must I do in order to live forever?" The gospel writer suggests he posed the question as a challenge, a test. I wonder why he wanted to test Jesus. Was he trying to trap him in a tangle of words? Or was it more like a mind game? a mental exercise that would allow him to demonstrate his own brilliance? Or was he genuinely concerned about his soul? We see in this setting two teachers, one sitting, one standing. The one standing takes the place of authority. I wonder what the tone of his voice was like. Was it strident, harsh,